The United States retail apocalypse is a slow-motion disaster that never seems to end. While several brands have spent decades building their businesses, attracting the base of customers, investing in real estate space, and perfecting their products to become respected household names, the advent of e-commerce changed the entire game in just a few years, and everything businesses thought they knew was put into question as they rushed to adapt to a new market that moved much faster and where shoppers had significantly more choices. The after effects of the financial crisis led to several waves of mass layoffs and store closings that left many companies standing on very thin ice. And the stock market volatility that followed ended the journey of many retailers that have been on our landscape for over a century. In 2017, the period commonly known as the start of this whole process, over 9,000 stores were permanently shut down as foot traffic at shopping malls dramatically declined. But the truth is that this crisis had been developing for nearly 15 years before the industry finally reached its breaking point. Since then, thousands of popular brands have filed for bankruptcy and gone out of business, and for the first time in history, shopping malls actually face the threat of extinction. One thing all retail experts note is the fact that neither the rise of online shopping platforms nor the financial turbulence that marked this period can completely explain why so many successful businesses failed almost overnight. One of the most notable trends driving the downfall of retailers is the steady decline of the United States middle class. Since the year 2000, it's estimated that U.S. middle-class Americans lost 35% of their purchasing power, with 5% of that loss happening over the last 2 years. From that period to this day, almost 22 million workers have fallen out of the middle class, given that wages stagnated, but the cost of living has increased by almost 4.5 times only in the past decade. Of course, the advent of the pandemic caused even more damage to the retail industry and this income group. In fact, this holiday season is the first in nearly 14 years where businesses in all categories saw sales contracting instead of rising. The troubles faced by retailers were exposed and aggravated by the effects of the health crisis-induced downturn, and after things started falling apart, one problem led to another and another and another, creating a downward spiral for companies that are making this scenario even scarier for many businesses up until this day. A lot is at stake still, and we will watch many more developments in 2023 as we head towards another economic recession. But today, we decided to gather 20 surprising facts about the U.S. retail apocalypse that many of you out there may not know yet. Before moving on, we kindly ask you to support our work and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our upcoming videos. Without further ado, here are 20 facts about the great U.S. retail apocalypse that'll blow your mind. 1. After 5 consecutive years of rampant retail store closures, the United States is now left with 1.2 billion square feet of retail space sitting vacant at city streets and malls. Since 2017, the number of empty stores at shopping centers increased by 5-fold, according to estimates released by Bloomberg. 2. Bloomberg analysts also projected that another 1 billion square feet, or 10% of all retail space in the U.S., will have to be closed, converted, or renegotiated by 2024 due to the maturity of an overwhelming real estate debt of approximately $5 trillion held by major retailers. 3. According to retail consultant Howard Davidovitz, over the next 15 years, the number of shopping malls in the U.S. will decline, from 1,200 to 550 as more and more brands move their operations to e-commerce platforms. 4. In the short term, Credit Suisse forecasts that America will lose 20% of its shopping malls by mid-2024. The mass shutdowns will be fueled by a persistent decline in foot traffic and changing consumer behavior, the institution notes. 5. In a span of less than 3 years, mall visits have fallen by 63%, and they continue to decline up to this very day, retail foot traffic tracker Placer.ai reported. 6. An analysis by Fund Global Retail and Technology, a retail think tank, found that over the past year and a half, there have been 5,300 retail store closing announcements, which is triple the amount reported in 2019. 7. Since 2020, more than 300 businesses have filed for bankruptcy, an increase of 31% compared to 2017, the period commonly known as the beginning of the retail apocalypse. 8. Over the past 30 months, an average of 544 stores were permanently shuttered per month across the nation, according to data reported by the United States bankruptcy courts. From those monthly closings, approximately one-third, or 169 shutdowns, were of retail stores. 9. MarketWatch experts exposed that over the last 12 months, department stores laid off 29,900 employees, while general merchandising stores slashed 15,700 positions. All of that is thanks to an almost 4% decrease in consumer purchasing power, bloated inventories, and mounting profit losses. In fact, sales of discretionary items have been falling for 10 consecutive months, and industry CEOs are warning that a wave of job cuts has only just begun. 10. During the holidays, retailers typically hire additional help to meet the rising demand, but this year's weak holiday outlook actually led many brands to impose hiring freezes. Right now, there are 154,000 fewer workers in the retail sector compared to a year ago, when supply chains were running at full speed and stimulus money was still making its way into people's accounts, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reports. 11. In fact, research released by Challenger, Gray & Christmas found that the number of retail layoffs is escalating at the fastest pace since 2016. In September and October, roughly 12,785 employees lost their job in the retail industry. That is a whopping 92% increase compared to the same time last year, when retailers were feverishly preparing for the 2021 holiday season, and only about 1,000 retail workers were laid off. 12. BLS data also shows that the number of retail store openings went down by 40,000 in the past couple of years. That is the worst performance recorded since 2015. 13. Credit Suisse expects more than 8,600 retail locations to close for good by mid-2024. But analysts at UBS see an even gloomier future for retailers. 50,000 stores may go dark by 2026 in the best-case scenario, the firm says. In case we enter a severe recession in 2023, that number would climb up to 80,000 locations. 14. One estimate released by The Atlantic reveals how the downfall in retail is happening at a much faster pace than the collapse of other decaying industries. The outlet disclosed that since 2001, retail stores have lost 18 times more workers than the coal mining industry. 15. The same report highlights that the jobs shed by 10 major department stores in recent years, including Macy's and JCPenney, amounted to 100,000 positions, more than the total number of workers currently employed in the U.S. precious metal industry. 16. In the first quarter of 2022, 18 different major retailers filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, as reported by professional services firm BDO USA. The researchers also noted that at least 7 of them were filing for the second time since 2020. 17. By mid-August, total filings reached 29 businesses, 5 of which were in the home furnishings category. According to accounting firm Smith Leonard, the home furnishings sector has experienced a 26% drop in sales in the second quarter of 2022 compared to the same period a year ago. Unfortunately, many businesses on that category are still standing on thin ice as Americans cope with higher prices of daily necessities and are left with less money to invest in new furniture. 18. All in all, since November 2019, bankrupt retailers closed just under 6,000 brick-and-mortar stores, a full 1,433 of which belong to home furnishings brands. 19. At the same time, non-bankrupt retailers closed an additional 4,228 stores over that same period, 200 of which were closed by Bed Bath & Beyond, actually, bringing the total to 10,226 in the past 3 years. 20. Despite sales events like Black Friday and deep discounts at several product categories, retailers saw sales contracting in November for the first time since the financial crisis, a major sign that Americans are committed to tightening their belts to deal with the financial challenges that are lying ahead. With mass layoffs being announced on a weekly basis, businesses facing the tightest credit conditions in decades, and consumers rolling back their spending amid rising living expenses, it's safe to say that a series of disappointing corporate earnings results is coming next, and with it, more announcements of store shutdowns and bankruptcy filings are likely to arise. Without a doubt, 2023 will be a decisive year for retail. Many companies that are just hanging by a thread may not survive another year, let alone another economic downturn. We all should start visiting our favorite stores soon, before conditions deteriorate and they're forced to go dark for good. Even giants like Walmart and Amazon have suddenly shuttered hundreds of locations in 2022. The problems of the industry are only getting bigger. But another important aspect to highlight is the fact that the U.S. middle class is also about to be greatly challenged. Rising prices for energy, for food, for gas aren't gonna ease anytime soon, and unexpected job losses may turn the lives of millions of Americans upside down, just as it happened during the pandemic. We will continue to see our money lose value, while the cost of all the goods we need on a regular basis keeps soaring beyond our reach. On a gut level, most people already realize that this is the new reality, and we will be stuck with it for quite some time. According to one recent survey, only 35% of all Americans say that they are better off financially than they were a year ago. And according to a recent NBC News and Wall Street Journal poll, only 28% of all Americans believe that this country is moving in the right direction. New numbers also show that 2/3 of Americans intend to curb their spending in 2023, and 69% of them are already reporting difficulty paying their grocery bills. Sadly, things will only get tougher in the months ahead. The crisis we're all about to face is very complex, and retailers will continue to get hit on each and every front. The next great wave of store closures is fast approaching, and when it finally strikes, all Americans will feel its impact. We hope you have found this video informative, and if you did, please don't forget to turn on the notification bell to know when our next list is coming up. Thank you very much for watching.